Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are digging into what's arguably the single most powerful idea in all of personal finance. We're going to break down a concept that, honestly, once it clicks for you, it completely flips the way you look at a simple dollar bill. We're talking about the actual secret to growing your money. So let's just get right into it.
I want you to just picture this for a second. A crisp $100 bill. Imagine taking just this 100 bucks today, putting it to work, and then years later, without you constantly pouring more and more cash into it, that initial 100 bucks has grown way, way beyond what you ever thought possible. It hasn't just bumped up a little bit, it is completely multiplied, right? So how is that actually possible? I mean, it kind of sounds like magic, doesn't it? But no magic here. It's actually a very specific, totally real financial mechanism, and throughout this explainer, we're going to decode exactly how this whole thing works.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, the $100 mystery. Second, unlocking compound interest. Third, why time matters most. Fourth, where to find it. And finally, rules for long-term success. All right, part one, the $100 mystery, a self-multiplying force. The answer to our mystery, simply put, is compound interest. This is the exact engine that allows your wealth to grow exponentially over time. It's the absolute driving force behind long-term financial growth. You know, it's a lot like a tiny snowball rolling down a massive hill, right? It just keeps picking up more and more snow, getting bigger and faster the further it goes. Moving on to part two, unlocking compound interest, the math and mechanics. So compound interest basically means you're earning interest not only on your original money, but also on the interest you've already earned. To put it super simply, your money goes out and earns some money, and then that new money teams up to earn even more money. You are literally recruiting new dollars to act as your own personal employees. And because of this wild compounding effect, it becomes unbelievably powerful over long stretches of time. Let's look at how this plays out. Say you invest your original $100 at a 10% annual return. Okay, in year one, your money earns 10 bucks in interest, bringing your total to $110. Awesome. But here's the kicker. In year two, your starting amount is that new total of $110. So your 10% return is now applied to that bigger number, earning you $11. Suddenly, your total is $121. Your money is literally growing faster and faster because your interest keeps earning its own interest. Which brings us to part three, why time matters most, the true catalyst. Now, what actually makes this math absolutely explode? Let's compare two different people. On one side, we have someone who starts early with pretty small amounts of cash. On the other side, someone who starts way later, but they try to make up for lost time by throwing massive chunks of money at it. Crazy enough, the person who starts earlier will often end up with way more wealth than the person who invests huge amounts later on. Why? Because the earlier you start, the more time compound interest has to just cycle and cycle. The person starting later just literally runs out of time for their interest to build on itself. Time is one of the biggest advantages in investing. Seriously, I want that to really sink in. It's not just about how much cash you have up front. Getting a massive head start is the ultimate secret ingredient here. Remember our focus on why starting early matters most? That early start is exactly what gives our snowball the actual runway it needs to become a full-blown avalanche. All right, part four, where to find it, where this actually applies. You can actually find compound growth in quite a few everyday financial products. It pops up in high-yield savings accounts, though, yeah, your standard checking account probably isn't doing this for you. You'll also see it in various investments and heavily in retirement accounts. It's even working within certain bonds and other long-term financial vehicles. Now, sure, the exact returns and how often it compounds will obviously vary depending on what you choose, but the underlying engine, it's exactly the same. Finally, part five, rules for long-term success, patience and consistency. So let's talk about human behavior for a second, because that's usually where the math completely falls apart. What is the single biggest mistake people make? Waiting too long before they start. Connecting right back to our main focus today. Time is, without a doubt, your biggest asset. Delaying your start is absolutely the most devastating thing you can do to compound interest, basically because you're robbing the formula of its most vital ingredient. But, you know, that's not the only trap. A lot of folks also ruin the compounding effect by withdrawing their money way too often. If you keep taking the interest out, it obviously can't earn more interest. It's literally like a farmer eating all their seeds instead of planting them for next year's crop. People also totally trip up by expecting super quick profits or just ignoring long-term investing altogether.
Compound interest absolutely demands patience and consistency. It is a marathon, not a sprint.
But hey, when you do follow the rules, the advantages are just incredible. It drives real long-term wealth growth. It sets up a system where your money literally does the heavy lifting and earns money for you, functioning kind of like that magic we joked about at the start. It naturally builds up great regular investing habits, and honestly, it heavily rewards patience. It is one of the simplest, yet most fundamentally powerful financial concepts out there. The earlier you start, and the longer you stay in the game, the more opportunity your money has to explode.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We've seen the math, we've seen exactly how your money can multiply itself. But most importantly, we've learned that time is your absolute biggest advantage. So, taking a hard look at your own timeline, are you going to let it slip away? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope this sparks you to take some action today.